Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Loose Ends Podcast. This is episode number 7 or 8.
I think it's
And this
8.
is the first podcast where we have this camera. And it is on the ironing board, the same ironing board that I used to iron these clothes. And we could not be happier to begin this portion of the media.
It feels really nice just being able to be in front of the camera. I mean, it's pretty new to both of us, but
Yep.
I think it will help with making clips and just
We're
all
gonna
that kind of stuff.
Clip it. So this is the craziest and most amazing Walmart DIY setup that I have ever created for any project I've ever done in my entire life, and I could not be more proud of it. This is amazing. I got a floodlight on a bookshelf. I got a floodlight on
Dresser kind of looking
yep,
thing.
and then I got the camera on an ironing board. This is amazing. So let's just get right into it. Donald Trump. Breaking news. This is the biggest thing that has happened in law since OJ, I would say. He's been convicted, guilty on all 34 counts. It's probably the craziest thing that I could have ever imagined happening
Yeah.
in the United States, in recent history at least. Something I didn't really expect at all.
Yeah, the thing with that though is I feel like Democrats are getting tired of it though too. And it's kind of like I forgot who was saying this, but they were saying how him getting convicted and all this kind of stuff right before the election again kind of helps sway it more towards his way instead of like bringing it like towards the Democrat way, if that makes sense.
So the way I look at this is I read an ABC News article, and it states that 3/4 of the people who said that they would consider changing their vote from Donald Trump if he was guilty, 75% of those people were already voting for Joe Biden in the first place. So, I don't expect it to move the needle that much. I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's that pressing of an issue for many people, because if you are grounded on your vote, you're going to stay grounded, and that's the way the United States actually has been over the last about 8 years, is what we're seeing. So,
Yeah.
just a really interesting situation. We'll be following that, and it's gonna be an existing issue through the election. It can be a pretty big one.
For sure, yeah.
It's true. So, we've begun the summer.
For sure, yeah.
3
Feels
months
really
in.
nice. A lot of free time, but I mean, it's always nice to have free time, but sometimes it sucks cuz you have too much and then you're kind of bored out of your mind, but I mean, I'd rather have that than homework and tests, so
I mean,
I'm not complaining.
I heard you've been fishing.
I have.
Been fishing.
I think how many days have we been in summer?
This is our third full week.
I
Yeah, third
think
full
I've
week.
gone 4 or 5 times at night. I go to anywhere. I've been doing mostly ocean fishing, so kind of just like on the harbor and like just throwing from the shore, and it's really fun because it's like super peaceful, and like I mean it's always fun when you catch stuff, but even when you don't, it's still super fun.
I've never caught a fish. I've gone fishing, I think, like a couple times when I was like 7 or 8,
Really?
and I've never caught a singular fish. I don't even think I've ever had one bite my hook. I use power bait. You know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
It's
That's more for trout.
It's literally like a neon Play-Doh.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could describe
Yeah.
it.
No, for sure.
I don't know, what kind of bait do you use? I don't know.
So when I'm fishing in the ocean, you can use little spoons, they call it. It's like little metallic metal, like kind of like a little spoon, if you like a kitchen spoon, but it like has a little treble hook on the back.
Okay.
So that has
Okay.
treble hooks means 3 little hooks coming out of it, and then it like spins in the water to make it look like a fish. So I use either that or you get frozen bait.
Mm.
So you cut up like mackerel or squid, and normally that works a little bit better, but it all depends on what you're going for. So
Got patience. So I've been working this summer, and it's part-time, but we're installing where I work. We're installing lighting into this new studio, and I met this guy. He's the one that's in charge of the whole project, and his name, I'll keep it secret, but he's probably one of the most experienced guys in just media in general. He's the most experienced man that I've ever met. And I wanted to share today just the teachings that he brought me. He was a guy who has done lighting for 5 different presidents. So he did Carter all the way up until Obama. I'm pretty sure that's the span of 5. But you know, this is just something that everybody should take upon themselves, is learn from everybody that you can in any aspect, in any subject. Just learn from those around you. I mean,
Sure,
you've
yeah.
definitely had to learn from older people that have come before you, in whatever it was, right?
No, yeah, it's the most helpful thing because they have lived life ahead of you and they've gone through things that you haven't gone through, and it's super important. Just like listen. It's super easy to be like the person that like I can do it all myself. I can climb any mountain I want, but when you listen to when you listen to people that are older than you and more wise, they can help you just get through life easier, which is super important. So, yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you talk into the microphone a little bit closer. I think the sensitivity settings might be down. But yeah, if anybody, what he's saying is, if anybody has come before you in any way, the way you grow most aspects is you just, you have to surrender the fact that you think you know everything. I mean, we've all had moments in our lives where we have dismissed an opportunity to learn. We've dismissed wisdom. We have deflected it because we thought that, we knew better. We thought that we had more experience than we did. And the lessons that he has learned himself, this guy, has been really immaculate. But the main overarching theme to why I'm bringing him up and why he is, as of this point, I spent 2 weeks working with him, and he completely changed my life, because the theme behind him as a person was the fact that he was a Christian and he was able to come to the very top of this industry. And he was the television lighting, CBS lighting director, designer, for the evening news for 4 years. And he has done the Super Bowl. He has done many installments of 60 Minutes, other NFL games, you name it. On the East Coast, at least, he has done it. But the part that makes him super, super special is he said he's nothing without God, and that God has directed him in every way possible in his career.
That's awesome. He was a lighting guy, or
He still is. So, the project that he did with us, he stated was his last project, but he does everything from the installation of every portion of equipment, grip gear, and then installing the lights themselves into the console, and then also making sure that they look good, mainly for television. And so, the one lesson that he had, I learned a lot from him, but something he taught me was give 51% of your will to God. So 51% is just barely the majority. He says that he has, in his life, experienced much change and much growth in the sanctification process with people that he has stated have given 51% of their will to God. 51% is the majority. It is just getting to the majority. And it's not necessarily in percentages. You can pick whatever percentage you want. But when you simply give the majority of your will and what you want and surrender it to the Lord, then that's when amazing things happen in people's lives. And he has experienced it himself. And it's something that I just wanted to tell everybody that's watching and listening to this podcast about, because it is amazing.
kind of adding to that, I know you were talking to me before we started shooting, but you wanted to talk about Proverbs 16:3.
Yes.
Do you want me to say it, or do you want to?
That's honestly the verse theme of today's episode. So yeah. You
Commit all your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. So I mean, it changes from each version that you look at, but I think it's honestly my life verse even before you said that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's so important. Just like give everything you have. Just trust God, trust the process, and He will make all your plans succeed, which is super cool.
It's the truth. He's told me, and this applies to everybody's lives, I believe, and that is, in your life, you're going to want things that are not meant for you, right? You're going to have an idea. You're going to say, this is right for me. This is what I want in my life. And it's truly not going to be for you. Now, God can either say, okay, you think that your life, or you think that what you want with your life is the best. You think you know better than I do. Okay, you're going to go on this journey and it's going to suck because you're going to learn how bad it actually ended up being for you. So you can go on this career route that you weren't meant to be on. And this can go for years before you finally realize that this has been the worst decision of your life. Or it's honestly a blessing even more when the doors just slam shut in your face.
No,
So it's almost a prayer that we have to pray. And that is, God, when I want something, please tell me if it's something that you have in your will for me.
Yeah.
Lord, your will be done. Slam the doors that are not meant for me and open those that are. And I think you will see many blessings in your life if you pray that prayer.
Yeah.
Right?
Honestly, I need to pray that prayer more because I'm kind of like, we're both going into our senior year. We both have our whole lives ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it gets super stressful worrying about what school you're going to go to, what career, all that kind of stuff. Just make sure that you give it to God and let him rule your plans, cuz I mean, everything happens for his will and what he wants, and it's always for the good too. So just trust the process, and I mean, I need to do better with that, but I mean, at least we both know what we're doing wrong and we can work on it. So
Honestly, though, there's nothing like you can't really escape it. You can't
Yeah.
escape God's will, you know?
no, yeah.
You've probably wanted to do things that were just, why did I want to do this? And you've probably been rescued out of it
Yeah.
in very abrupt ways. You know, can you tell me about a situation that you feel comfortable telling about something like that has happened?
I would say it's just more like I would say just kind of like school more. Like I was super stressed out with like what college I wanted to take. I just took the SAT on Saturday. So like I didn't know if I wanted to do that, if that school's what I wanted to be going to or apply. And I was just super stressed out, and I mean, I was going through some other things too.
Mm.
So just like I felt like a lot of things were on my plate that I shouldn't have been worrying about. I should have just given it all to God. But I've just kind of been like, I've kind of gotten a peace, which is, I mean, such a huge blessing. I've just been trying to just read my Bible more, which I haven't been doing that good recently. But something that I've been doing instead, or which, I mean, I kind of talked about on the last episode, but it's actually been super helpful, is just journaling.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
just like talking to God through writing. And like the coolest thing is you can always go back when you're like 30, 40, no matter how old you are, you can always go back and read those prayers, and it just shows you what you got through and like what hurdles you've like hopped over, and like it's really cool because it's like it's always written in stone, and you can always just like look back and see how good God is through that.
Well, when you journal too, it's a good way of like remembering how you got through something, right?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
remembering, how did I do it this time? I'm now faced with the same problem I was once faced with. How did I get through it the first time? And, you know, it's vital, because if you forget how you got through it, then you might wind up on the same long route. You might take a long time getting through whatever problem it is the first time. However, once you document, once you figure out what got you through it the first time, then the second time you go through any problem related, it can be a lot faster of a process.
Yeah, for
getting
sure.
out.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good point. I was also thinking, kind of like adding to what we were talking about earlier, just focus on, don't force anything. Like, it's super easy to like, this is the plan I want and this is the path I want to take. Just like, I'm going to take this as like a kind of weird example, but like, imagine you're at a water park. There's all the super fast slides, and that's kind of what you want to go on. But
Right.
sometimes you got to go on the lazy river, and you got to just
Oh,
like, you just
ooh.
got to cruise. And like God will take you, like the water will take you the way that you're supposed to go. You just need to trust the process, and you need to just give it all to God, and He will like provide for you through that.
Yep. The lazy river, that's actually a really good one. So you have to do your due diligence in life. That's what, you know, sometimes you'll get a job. You'll go in someplace and you'll think to yourself, wow, this is my opportunity to really begin doing what I believe I'm called to do. And I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to, you know, kick some butt. But at the same time, you're going to go in sometimes, most likely when you begin something, you'll be super humbled by whatever work you begin doing, because it's not exactly what you wanted to do. It's not what you had intended for yourself, but it's humbling work that kind of makes you feel grateful for being there in the first place. Like, when I began work, I didn't know what to expect, and I was kind of wondering what it was going to look like. And one of the happiest days of my work was being in the warehouse, moving boxes. It's probably the happiest that work, most edifying, fulfilling work that I had done in a long time, because it was simple. However, it gave me an appreciation, and even more appreciation for everything that I had worked up to being able to even be in that warehouse at that point. And it made me grateful for being able to help out at the capacity I was, because that work was needed, and it was something that most people would like kind of scoff at, but it really helped make me a more grateful, harder worker.
Yeah.
And when I went back inside, I felt like I had really done something that mattered. So if you are doing your due diligence and you're being sent into a place where you are confused as to why God has you here, you thought that you were meant for something bigger, more important, maybe more complicated at the time, just remember, wherever you are, you're being made into something that you'll eventually be seen as greater.
Yeah.
And it'll create the greatest possible outcome that you could have never imagined.
Kind of adding to that, when I was younger, I mean, I've always been in a family that like we work on like our yard, our property, our house. Like
Right.
we're pretty like handy, I would say. Like we're always hands on. And from a young age, my dad always like made me do stuff that like most kids don't want to do. Like I mean, like
Right.
you want to go home and play video games and do all that kind of stuff, play with your toys. But I mean, I still did all that, but I learned from a young age to do all those tasks, and I learned a lot from it. So now that I'm older, I'm more appreciative of it, because I've gone through all those years of learning all that stuff, and now I can apply it when I'm older. And like
Right.
learning all these tasks from a young age has been super helpful. So it's kind of like the thing, like when you think about it in a biblical way, like all those like trials and things you have to overcome help shape you as a person too.
Right.
And like it's super helpful. If you had a life that it was all good and all easy, you would never learn from any mistakes you made or anything that he's gotten you through. So that if now that you have gone through all those trials and tribulations, I mean not tribulation, but like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
get what
like
you're saying.
you've gone through all that stuff. It helps shape you as a person in that way. So like I'm kind of like an overthinker a little
Right.
bit, but like sometimes applying it to things in the physical
Right.
world helps me think about it more in the biblical way. So it's super cool just like trying to like apply that stuff to the gospel and that kind of stuff. So
You'll never be let down too when you try to apply stuff, because there's something out there for every single situation that you're in. There's a book out there for any specific life problem or challenge that you're in. And you'll be like, this is another thing that I've learned over with this guy over the last couple of weeks, is you're going to have challenges in your life, and you're going to have a lot of them, and you're going to wonder how you got through them, right?
yeah.
It's not going to be you.
Yeah.
There's going to be problems in everybody's lives. As long as you give them to God, you're going to have no other explanation than you did not solve this yourself. It was all God. And there's going to be more situations like that than you could originally imagine. It's pretty crazy to think that,
Yeah. Something that I was kind of thinking about, I learned from Church This Sunday. It was like you'll have times in your life that are really good and it's like a really high, and then you'll have times that are really low.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always like you're always on the body of water. It's like it will never be constant in a spot, which I thought was really interesting, because I always think about like maybe if I read my Bible all the
Right.
time and do all these things right, I'll always be going up. But it's kind of cool how it always changes, because we always need change in our life to help us grow.
Mm-hmm.
And something I also was like thinking about that they were talking about is don't don't do things just for like just cuz. Like don't just read your Bible cuz it's the right thing to do
Okay.
and like that won't get you into heaven if you're reading your Bible.
Right.
I mean, I'm doing the yearly plan and like sometimes I get caught up into doing it just to do it instead of like doing it cuz I truly care for God and like do it cuz I love God. I do it sometimes just to like be the so and so Christian and like you kind of get what I'm saying, but like
It's more for like, is it? You think it's for vanity in that sense?
yeah,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
get
like
you.
more like a
Right.
I'm just doing it to do it because this is what Christians do
Right.
instead of like a I want to grow my relationship with God and like I truly like care and love for God through that. So that's something that I'm trying to work on
Right.
because I mean I don't know, I'm like 130 something days in my plan or whatever,
Mhm.
but it's like I'm I'm kind of at the point where it's like kind of numb to it
I get
because
you.
I'm kind of
Yep.
just doing it to do it instead of
You read
like
for completion.
I read for completion more. I mean, there's still stuff I get out of it, but it's like
That's how I was too.
yeah, it's just I need to find something else because I've been listening it to like while I'm driving and stuff. So maybe I need to just sit down at my desk and read there, or I don't know. I'll figure something out, but just make sure that you're fully getting what God is trying to teach you and that kind of stuff. That's
There's
all
a
I'm trying to
message
say.
even in when you're reading the book of Leviticus, and this like book gets brought up a lot as a joke. And if you are reading something that you feel like is just history, like this is the descendant of them, and it's like the whole family tree, there's still something to be learned because I ignored the genealogy of the Bible, and it was actually much harder for myself to understand the lineage of David because that's what it explains. So just that's just a specific example I can think of a situation where it was information that I neglected because I didn't think it was important in the Bible, and it turned out to be something that was now a missing piece in my understanding of the Bible. So you have to understand when you read the Bible, it has to be done linearly. And I mean, this Bible plan, you started off at the beginning of the Old Testament and then the New Testament, but really to fully understand why Jesus was necessary, you have to read
Yeah.
from Genesis 1 and see the creation, how everything was created perfect, why nothing is perfect now, why the law was there, and then you can understand why the law can't be kept. Therefore,
Yeah.
the Savior is needed. And so, that's why you got to take the Bible reading from beginning to end, even if it takes you forever, that you're reading to comprehend it. And I myself, when I read the Bible for a year, there were days where I just skimmed.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. I just tried to read as fast as I possibly could. And because of that, I am now still hearing the names of books in the Bible that I did not know existed. So
Yeah.
I made a huge mistake in that sense.
That's kind of what got me thinking about that was just like me kind of doing like skimming and that kind of stuff. Like it got me thinking like I'm going to complete 365 days, a whole year, and I've got maybe 150 days out of it or like I don't know if that's clear how I'm saying it, but like I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be I got 365 solid days out of reading my Bible and solid days of me letting God take my life and just like guiding it and like letting me just like go in the passenger seat and let God just drive it.
Right.
It's just like I don't want to get to a year from whenever I started and just forget it all.
Right.
And like I don't know. I don't want that to happen. So I've been working on that to like
Right.
get fully completed from that, I guess.
Kind of change pace. This weekend I saw the Fall Guy. Have you heard that movie? It's in theaters.
Fall Guy?
Yeah, it's
Is
about
that no, I was thinking about
remake of a
Free
TV
Guy.
show. Free Guy. I thought I was seeing the Free Guy actually when I went into the theaters, but it's this movie by Ryan Gosling's in it,
Uh-huh.
and he plays a stunt double. He's a stunt double, and he's the background guy. So there's the star, and then he is the background. It was actually a really good movie. I highly recommend you see it because one thing I took from it And it wasn't necessarily a life lesson or anything like that because it was a very basic and fun movie. And that's what I got from it. It was the first movie I'd seen in a long time, or it was the first movie I didn't avoid because there was no political statement in it. There was no underlying message in it. It wasn't condemning anybody, except for the fact that the superstar was a murderer. And that's kind of a spoiler, but it was a good movie because it was the first one I've seen in a while that wasn't problematic in any way, and I feel like I took that for granted, right? You probably
No.
have avoided movies.
Dude, I haven't seen a movie since Top Gun Maverick
That was a
in-
good one.
in theaters. Actually, no. I saw Kung Fu Panda, I think. But like I've been trying to stay away from it cuz it's like I mean, you can watch stuff from your house on many different accounts.
Right.
So like I kind of just wait for it to come out there. But it's also like I feel like every movie has been trying to like put stuff on the background and trying to like push you to do things that I don't agree with. And
Yeah.
it's just like I feel like the movies have been bad too. Like
They've been really low effort. Like, I've been seeing so many just remakes. Like, this is the 5th movie in the installation
Yes.
of Ghostbusters, and it's like becoming poorly written, poorly
Yeah.
directed, and it always has to say something about political views that differ from them, or it's got feminist underlying tones. It's got this. It's got that.
yeah.
And they've lost so much money. There was a strike, so Hollywood's kind of been beaten up a little bit. And because of that, I feel like they might get to the point now where they feel like they have to make a certain type of movie in order to not
Yeah.
bother anybody. So they're going to start making the movies that people are going to see instead of the projects where they want to push their beliefs on everybody else.
No, yeah.
It's really yeah.
I think it's so annoying. Like, I'm not gonna say a specific movie because I don't like want us to get in trouble. But like,
Right.
I'm like, it's so annoying when they remake it and then like push different things when it's like
Right,
a little
right.
children supposed to be for little children to enjoy just like watching a movie, and they're like pushing like all this like political way. That's just I don't know. I just find it so irritating.
Yeah, it's always it can be right in front of your face, and it's something that if you take, for example, a movie and there is a person in it who is a certain type of person, and it's right in your face, you can't, and even if it goes against morals and ethics, even if it goes against your own beliefs, you cannot say anything about it.
Yeah.
You cannot, and this could be any type of person. I'm not pointing out any specific creed, gender, race, anything like that. Of course I wouldn't, but everybody has their own morals and ethics, and certain movies like to get a certain base of people angry on purpose, and then they'll say, well, it's because you're racist. Or
Yeah.
it's because you don't like this group of people. And it's not true. They're remaking history documentaries. One specific one was a Netflix documentary which remade a certain time in ancient history,
Mm-hmm.
but they completely got the race of the person in history that they were portraying wrong.
Oh.
And an entire country got very upset. You can look into this very easily just by the keywords that I'm using. An entire country got upset about this and sued Netflix over the issue. And what did the main character who portrayed this misinterpretation of the characters have to say? You're racist. That's what they said. So it's not that we are racist. We just want normal films out there. We want
No,
family
yeah,
films
totally.
again.
Kind of change topic a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you done anything like that you want to tell us about like over your summer? I mean, it's only been a few days, but I mean,
I've just been working. I haven't done much, but
Havasu?
oh yeah, I went there. I've been to Lake Havasu, Arizona. Those of you who don't know, around this time of the year, it is about 115 degrees
Dang, that's so hot.
when the UV is high. It's not humid though. Thank God it's not humid. The only way that people are able to survive in the desert with the heat that intense is because of the fact that they A, have access to a body of water, B, have a killer air conditioner, and they don't even go outside, or C, they
Like it hot.
can tolerate no humidity. And it's not humid at all. but the sun stings out there. I was outside, and it's like I got sunburn in like 5 minutes.
Dang. Did you go like ride around in a boat or
Nope.
two wakeboard?
I went to the driving range for golf, dude. My chip, like my chipping with my 9 iron or my wedge is so much better. I cannot drive a ball straight.
Yeah.
Mine goes, it curves to the left. It goes, or other than that, I'll top it.
Oh dang.
You struggle with topping it ever?
I mean, yes. I mean, every golfer has in their life, but I don't know.
It doesn't even
I
make
kind of
sense how that happens to me.
I wish golf wasn't so expensive
I know.
because I would go out and like I would go out so much. I feel like I would maybe go like at least twice a week, but it's just I can't be spending like $60-$70 on just one round of golf. I don't know, but it's so nice out there. So unless you're having a really bad day, then it just sucks.
Dude, every day I golf is a really bad day. I will literally swing because I've gotten 2 lessons in golf. I got a lesson one Sunday when I was in 5th grade, and then the next Sunday after that when I was in 5th grade. So I was 11 years old or 10 years old, and it never got them again. And every time I go and play, we play best ball as a family.
Oh,
because
I
we are
love
so,
best
We
ball.
are
It's
so
so
bad at
fun.
golf
No, it's so fun
that
though.
I will hit the ball. It will bounce 3 feet in front of myself, and then I'll do the same thing again and again and again. God forbid I ever try to tee off. We just have my dad tee off usually.
I I haven't played in maybe a month, I would say,
Mhm.
just because I was playing with our school, and it was
Right.
just like I was going like almost every single day except like Fridays and the
You
weekend.
probably got kind of good. How did your short game get?
I got a lot better. Like
Okay.
at the end or like at the beginning, I was because this was my first time ever playing golf like
Mhm.
in my life. So, I mean, like actually playing golf. I mean,
Mhm.
I've hit around every once in a while, but like I was put on JV at the beginning because I mean I was brand new,
Right.
and then I worked my way up and I got to varsity, and then even like at the beginning of that, I was not doing good.
Yeah.
But I think the last round I ever played, like in a tournament, like I played the best golf I've ever played.
Did you get any birdies? Any?
I
One
maybe
unders?
got a few. I think I got like 2 birdies.
Wow.
But
I've
I don't
never
know.
gotten
It's just
one.
like I felt like every time I swung, it just felt right. And if I ever went back out there, I mean, it was gonna be bad because it's like you get so rusty from not hitting. I don't know, but it's just super technical and
Just go to
fun
the
sport.
driving range, man. Overhits, top some balls, knock some grass out of the ground. That's what I like to do. I'm just so bad at golf. Like I can't even explain it, dude.
Yeah, it's
The best golfer that I've ever played with, or I don't even know if I was technically, yeah, he's a family friend, and this dude has an unorthodox golf stance. Literally lifts up a foot when he drives. He's driven a ball farther than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life, and he's just, it's those people, right, where they're just like, oh, you play golf? You ask them, and they go, yeah, I play a little bit, and then they just they drive and they hit it mid fairway.
yeah.
It's just perfect.
Those are the most
people.
annoying people to play against because it's just like they look like they're not trying and they're just like doing so much better than you.
I know.
I don't know though.
They'll complain about shots that you'll pray to God that you were able to hit. That's the funny thing about golf is everybody understands how hard golf is, so we all just talk about how bad we do most of the
Yeah.
time, right? And some people, I was once at a golf course and some guy was pulling up into a was pulling up in a golf cart because he had just finished his 18th hole, and they were just celebrating, and it set the tone for their day because of how good they did. But you can't let yourself get down because most of the time it's not going to be that good.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it's just like super important. Just like play your game, play it for fun. Because I mean, there was a few times that I was like so irritated how I was playing, and like it just like kind of like ruined my day because it's just like I put so much effort in and was getting nothing in return.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
yeah.
just like I feel like that's the worst feeling. Like you always want to be like good at things. I mean, that's how I feel about like everything. Like I hate it if I'm not good at it.
Golf is so
But-
humbling because
No, yeah.
everybody that starts off is so bad, right? Like when I first started playing golf, I had to get the hand thing correct. I put my index and my pinky.
Yep.
You know,
You interlog, yeah.
and then I swung the club and the club left my hands. So, another one of those humbling things. Also, on the subject, this is my best effort at a transition here. Dan, we're back. Oh, I said his name. I'm gonna cut that out. Anyways, just a message that he also left me with was going where he sends you to. Even if it's like golf, you just started playing golf and you suck, right? You did what I did. The club left your hands and now it's flying and it hits a squirrel out of a tree. If you go where the Lord sends you, then great things are bound to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever been sent somewhere or you've been told it's been put on your heart to do something that you didn't want to do and it ended up being a very edifying experience?
Oh, I'll talk about this. So my freshman year, there's this summer camp. It's called Hume, and I had like the worst experience ever. I don't know, because I was in, when you're
very first
freshman
year?
year, yeah,
Were you going into your freshman year? Or
I was going into my freshman
Okay.
year. So it was like I was brand new to high school, and like everyone was just messing around. It was just we kept getting in trouble as a group. I mean, I wasn't doing anything, but like
Right.
our whole group got in trouble like all the time, and it was just like I had the worst trip ever, and it's like a week long. So I mean, you're stuck right there. So then the next summer I skipped it because I just had such a bad experience, and then the me going into my junior year.
Right.
So, I mean, this school year, I had like the best experience ever at camp because it was like everyone was not messing around. Everyone just truly wanted to grow the relationship with God, and like worship was awesome. Like probably the biggest takeaway I got was just be in community with
Right.
other Christians, and because they'll help you make the walk way easier with God. And also something that was super helpful was it like sparked my interest in worship and stuff too, because like worship is such a blessing. Like you can just like give it all to God and like give him the praise, which is super important.
He didn't want to go, and God said, "You're going." He didn't want to go while he was on the bus. He probably wanted to go home. And a lot of these guys who went, I'm starting to see that it completely changed their lives. They're different people now. So that's true.
Yeah.
That's the best evidence that I have for God is people like him who have had experiences where they're completely different. I've met people now that have told me that they have just gotten saved, and I'm noticing beginning to the first time I met them
Uh-huh.
to the time that they're telling me, they're already different people.
Yeah.
That is real. That you can't take anything away from that. It is the realest thing that I think I've ever experienced in my life was the change, the shift from people before God and after them.
No, yeah.
And there was that exact same shift happens to people when they go to Hume Lake. I was talking to somebody about this at work. It's a Hume Lake effect.
Like a mountaintop high, you mean?
It could be that. Like,
Yeah.
the thing is you could make a documentary off of this. Maybe we should. You could make a documentary out of something like this, and that is people are different. It changes people. Now, some people only momentarily.
Yeah.
That's where the argument comes for the mountain high. You isolate a bunch of kids in the woods. You give them no electronics. You stick them up and have them do all these things, worship. They tell each other how their lives are going. They sit and they talk.
Yeah.
They do all these things, right? And in the moment, they are very changed by that. But then again, when they bring it back home and
Like
start
apply
spreading
it
it,
to normal, yeah.
it's real.
Yeah.
It's something that I want to almost ask people about. It's something that I want to, I almost feel like we should make some sort of documentary about it because it's something that is so real, and it's just by the person.
Yeah.
It's something you have to investigate. That's something I'm just getting curious about.
I know you were kind of talking about how some people only change for a little bit.
Right.
It's also cool, even though that they might have like been walking walking on the terrible road and just like doing really bad things, and then they came to Hume and changed while they were just up there.
Right.
Even though they didn't bring it down, it's still cool that like it shows me like an outsider just looking in from their life
Right.
that like they can change and there still is hope. So it's like just reach out to those kind of people and help like lift them up and push them a little bit. Like I know it's super hard to like talk to those people closest to you and classmates and all that kind of stuff, but it's super important just like just don't care what people think about you too, which is super important. And just like push them a little bit cuz maybe you'll plant a seed in their life that will change their whole existence.
I guess the overarching theme of this podcast is that when God tells you to do something, it is in your best interest, and it is something that you once you do, even if you don't want to, even if you have to force yourself to go, even if you have to have somebody else hold you accountable. When God has his will for you and his will is done, then changes in your life happen that you could have never ever expected. Things that you never could have seen yourself doing, a place that you could have never seen yourself being at. Things like this occur, and there's no explanation for it other than the Almighty God.
Yeah.
So when you respond and when you do what you're called to by God and you don't ignore the calls, things happen in your life that you could have never seen possible. You could have worked with 5 different presidents. You could have changed the world. You could have changed people's lives and not know about it until many years after. These things happen because when God wants you to do something, it's not just for you, but it's for a much bigger, a much greater purpose than you could have ever imagined. And I guess that is how we wrap up this podcast.
I want to wrap up, but I want to say one last thing before.
Got it.
Kind of adding to that is you were talking about earlier how like the things that we don't want to do, like
Right.
like was something that you didn't want to do, but God like brought light through that. When you don't want to do something, I feel like that's the most important time that you got to do that thing.
Right.
Like I'm gonna just use this as an example, like working out, like
Right.
waking up, and like the days that you love working out, it's easier to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Those are important days too. But the day that you don't want to wake up, don't want to go there, those are the most important days to go. Or like
Right.
same thing with like reading your Bible and that kind of thing. But it's like this missions trip. This is something that you can go on. Like you don't want to go. Like it's just like God giving you like an option that you can do. Just like trust in the process and just reach out and try to do everything that you can that will bring God glory.
All right.
So wrap it up.
Wrapped up that
Episode
sucker.
8. Hope you guys come back next week, or I think it's 8. I don't know. But come back next week for episode